Hey guys, hope you are well. Today I'm going to be interviewing Pete K, a Paris-based progressive breaks and trance and progressive house producer whose music I found on a Spotify playlist for Colorize music. I had this one tune on repeat over and over again, so I reached out to Pete and he very kindly agreed to be interviewed on the channel as he watches it himself. So today is the conversation we had. We talk about what it's like to be released on labels such as Armada, Colorize, 03 and Proton, and how he managed to build a career, where his first breakthroughs came from, the difficulties he's faced and how he overcame them, and of course some production tips as well. So I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did, and let me know in the comments below which other producers you'd like to see me interview on this channel. So without further ado, let's meet Pete K. Cool. So now let me try that again. So I want to say a massive welcome and thank you to Pete K for joining us today. Pete is a melodic house and trance and breakbeat producer. I mean, how would you describe yourself? Because I've listened to loads of your music and I love it.
Hi, Will. Thanks for having me. So I'm Pete K. I produce mainly progressive house, but I also diverge into multiple genres like melodic, a bit of trance, and of course breakbeats. And yeah, I don't really like to stick to just one genre because I find it's a bit boring to just keep to one thing. To keep it more interesting, I like to make more stuff, just like more genres, and like go and pick up a bit of influence and inspirations from a lot of music. Yeah, basically that's it.
Yeah, but I found that there's like a common thread through your music, even though it's got, it's in slightly different genres, because I found your music through, I think it was on a Spotify playlist. I was listening to Colorize and Hold the Line came up, which is like a progressive breaks track. And I was like, I love this. It's amazing. And then I started listening to your other music because you've had releases on Armada and Axtone and 03 as well. And there, I could definitely hear the kind of Eric Prydz type influence as well, where you'll have repeating motifs and melodies whilst the bass lines change. And that's my jam, man. That's what I love. So even though you're producing these different styles, I could definitely hear like a common thread.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to keep my main goal when making a track is always to keep its certain emotional emotional vibe to it. I like to have really focus a lot on melodies and not so much, of course drums are always important, but I always focus on melodies first. That's always my main thing, and like to have like a really beautiful chord progression and strong impacts, something to really touch you and like give you that feeling when you're in a club or even listening at home, that you're like, yes, this gives something to my body, it hits you in the feels.
Axwell says trust the goosebumps.
Yeah, exactly.
I call it heart melter, like just that feeling. Yeah, I love it, man. So we've got some questions that the community have put together. We've got some questions for our accelerator students as well, which we can touch upon at the end. But seeing as we've been talking about melodies, that is an interesting question. Like, what's your background in music? Because how long have you been producing electronic music? And then did you play any instruments before that when you were growing up?
Okay, I started to learn music production 13 years ago. And then, slowly developing. I think I made a few mistakes by releasing maybe too soon my stuff, because I feel that the tracks, when I listen to them back again today, they were not ready to release. I came from a background of a lot of progressive house music. The early years of Swedish House Mafia, like 2006, 2007, when they were even like playing really housey stuff. They haven't exploded much at that time. And of course, deadmau5, which comes like the strong melodic inspiration. And of course, Eric Prydz, which came also a bit later on. So I would say these three names had the big impacts on my will to start to make music. That was what made me to. I wanted to be a bit like them. I wanted to make music like them and be part of a scene where I could express myself and go a bit into that route, basically.
And how did? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I didn't play any instruments before, so I don't know how to play the piano. And for dance music, basically you don't really need it anyway. You just hit trial and error, and you fix it then on the DAW. So
yeah, and now you've got the scale mode in Ableton. Do you use Ableton?
No, I use Fruity Loops.
So does FL Studio have some kind? I think it has a scale mode of some sort as well.
Yeah. They can. Yeah, you can basically choose some chords and some chord progressions, and it's quite. Even if I don't use that much, but I find it can be really helpful for some.
Yeah, cool. And were you just listening to music at the time, and you just thought, I want to make music like this? Or did you go to a club and have an epiphany? What was the big introduction to dance music?
No, I was more like, and I'm still more like of an introvert guy. I don't really enjoy the club experience of being around many people, and also the club vibes of, I don't know, there's something about that I didn't really connect to it right away. So for me, it was more about listening. I was going to school in the bus with my headphones and listening to this music every day. Every time in these trips, I was always getting those goosebumps listening to the music, and I really enjoyed the way that it affected me and the way that it made me feel. Could really change my moods in a few seconds of listening to this track by deadmau5 or Prydz. So yeah, it was basically just about that.
Nice. And you mentioned that you've listened to some of your older tracks that you think were released too soon. And did you self-release them, or had you sent them to labels and they thought it was good enough to release?
I sent them to labels, but they were not good labels. So it was really, really horrible. If I think about it, it was just like signing the contract just for the sake of it and just putting it out. No promotion at all, no marketing plan. I had that dream of releasing something and to be part of this, and I didn't have, maybe the maturity to think back and say, is this the same level of everything else that is out there? So yeah,
I think everyone goes through like the stage where they're releasing something for the sake of it, because I think it's a big milestone, you know, when even if it's not the best piece of music in the world, just knowing that you've put it out there, because so many producers, they get scared to even try and get themselves released.
True. Yeah.
And I think there's there's a lot to be said for just getting something out there.
Also, I was really young. I mean, I was maybe 16 or 17. So yeah, I was just not, didn't have the experience enough to think through about like really, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't when you're 16 or 17.
Yeah, exactly. You're a kid just, so yeah, you do these things.
Yeah. But now, you've released on some incredible labels, and are you DJing alongside that as well?
Yeah, so I DJ alongside that, mostly like in label parties. Mm-hmm. Most of these labels that I'm releasing, especially, for example, Release Records, which is a label from the UK, is a label by third-party guys. I don't know if you... Yeah, third-party.
Third-party, the producers.
Yeah, the producers, yeah. They have their label, and they throw their own label parties in clubs like Ministry of Sound, London, in the Club Nova, IDE. They've been doing like these really massive label nights where it's always packed full of people to enjoy their music, like proper fans that know their music.
Yeah.
Since I've been part of this label for a few years now already, I feel that there are already some people know my music and always stay for my set too. So that's always nice to go and to play your music live. It's a really good experience. So it was more interesting in the beginning of just like mixing tracks and finding new tracks, that doing that job of like digging the tracks that nobody had before. That was always like side to side to the production thing. So I still keep doing it, and I think it's really rewarding for me.
Excellent. Yeah, we've just had one of our students recently play at the Ministry of Sound. Great. Played there a few years ago. It's a fantastic club. That was fantastic. Tick that off the bucket list for me.
Yeah. I mean, the Ministry is always like one of the best gigs. I've played there a few times there already for these label nights, and it's always like great vibes. The sound quality is amazing. It's just huge. And I don't know, it's just something about that feels special. It's iconic, just to get to the entrance of the club and see that big logo of Ministry of Sounds. The first time that I went there, I was shaking my my body, you know, because I recognized that because I was using to listen to this Ministry of Sound annual mix CDs from 2006. So yeah, to be able to get there the first time was just incredible.
That's amazing, man. So I know a lot of people will be interested to kind of hear, how did the first opportunity to DJ, like how did you build into being able to play gigs like that? I guess it was on the back of the productions because you said it was label nights. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you know, maybe you can tell us a bit about if you've had any breakthrough moments where something's happened and you're like, oh, this is the next level now. Yeah,
I mean, for me, it was just exactly when I signed the first time for Release Records, the third party's label, in 2017 or 18, I can't recall. But for me, that was one of the main points because I was not playing at all. I was just making music at home. I only had played in a club maybe once in my life. And it was like a small club in Portugal. So when they told me that they were interested in signing my music and making me play at Ministry of Sounds and the next day in another club in Toulouse, like a little weekend gig day, and to be able to meet with the guys and that was just like a big moment for me. And I think that was really special, amazing.
So did you send your music to them? Did you actively?
Actually, they listened to some of my promos that I was releasing on other labels like 03. Mm-hmm. And then they got in touch with me on Twitter.
Okay.
Saying that they really enjoyed and they were looking for something like that for their label. So then I signed my music there, and they, with the contract and with the releases, they really invested on me to be part of the roster of the label and be part of all these label nights. From then on, I kept playing in these label shows. And sometimes I got like requests from other people as well outside, because it's just how it rolls. Like they see that you're playing in this place, you're signing here and here, and then just naturally keeps growing, basically.
Yeah. So the music came first, and then off the back of the quality of the music, you started DJ.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so much to building an artist profile. Do the guys at the team help you with things like social media and promoting your tracks? You know, how much is left to you? Or can you just focus mostly on the music and you've got a team behind you that helps with all the other stuff?
At the time, their management offered me to become my management as well. So from that time on, we decided to really invest in that part as well of the promo, of all this visual marketing thing. So every time there's like a release, we'll think about it. We'll come up with something that's visually good quality to post, and we'll think like a good promo plan, marketing plan. Basically, with them, it was always more beat their sides, and they can ask me maybe like to come up with some content for my own as well. Maybe let's do an interview, or maybe let's do like some extra content by my side. But most of the times was coming from them as well.
And that's good.
Not all the labels are like that, but
no, I was going to say that's it. If you're with a good label, then that's brilliant. But not all labels are created equal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even if the label does a good job, I think nowadays it's quite important that you think really about you and about yourself and how you want to promote, and maybe try to come up with some extra content yourself outside of the label.
Yeah, I mean that ties in with what I was about to ask anyway, which was simply, are there specific skills that you think are crucial for a music producer and DJ in today's industry?
Any
crucial skills over and above being able to produce? And you just touched upon, you know, taking the impetus to do extra and to go above and beyond with your own content.
Yeah, I mean, I would say crucial, maybe like being an Instagram influencer is crucial today. No, I'm just kidding. But like, it's a weird area that we're living today because, you kind of need to get out there and do a lot of content, which I don't really like how it is, how it works. I feel that nowadays, like the the promo side, I know that it's really important. And of course, like I try to do some content of myself every time and I need to think a lot about it. But I just feel like it's a bit too sad that we are wasting so much time nowadays thinking about all this content, about how is my music going to be heard. And I just think that it's a bit sad that we could have just dedicate more time to music and to what it matters. Feels like the music is being a bit forgotten nowadays. Feels like the image matters a bit more than the music, and that's sad.
Yeah, no, I get that. You know, I don't like creating. I mean, I love creating content for YouTube just because I found something that I can be creative in, and it was a surprise. You know, I didn't think I'd like it, but I tried it, and then I liked it, and then it's like, okay, I like it more and more. But doing stuff for Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, I just don't want to do it, man.
It's really crazy, and sometimes it's getting worse and worse. And producers nowadays, they feels like they are more of like an Instagram influencer model or something than basically a music producer. You know. To get back to your question, I think a good advice would be just to not to fall a bit on that trap of doing anything matters just to promote your music, your contents, and even doing things that you're not comfortable with. I think it's really important nowadays that you keep to your, keep it natural and do not try to be something else that you are not, just to be heard and just to promote your music, you know. I think that's a good thing to tell.
Okay. I mean, I think that Instagram, you know, is important. It is, especially in the music industry. But for instance, I found your music just on Spotify, and because I like the label Colorize, and interviewed Adam on the channel a few weeks ago, and I listened to a lot of music, and that's how I found you. And I don't think I think I've been on your Instagram probably, but I don't really use Instagram. I know maybe I'm just different from everyone else, but
that's great. That's great.
You know, it's the music that matters for me.
If it wasn't for music, I don't think I would use Instagram myself, you know. I think it also has to do with my personality. I'm a bit more discreet guy. I don't like to take selfies or to just show myself and take pictures. So it can also be a bit with my personality. But I really feel that, the music is being put to second plan nowadays. And
Speaking about music and your creative process, have you got a particular way that you approach tracks each time? Do you do it from inspiration, or do you ever get stuck for inspiration and then you've got like some tips as how you can start a project in that situation?
I feel that I've been over the years trying to think and come up with different and new ideas to start my tracks. I always felt like one of the basic ones is just like with a keyboard MIDI and just try to come up with a cool melody. That's the basic one. But if that doesn't work, and if I'm getting stuck, sometimes I can just go listen to new music, inspire myself. And sometimes even if I really like, for example, a chord progression of a track, I can just like try and copy the same chord progression as a starting point, and then try to build something from that. Because sometimes, when you have a starting point like a melody or just a chord progression, it's basically a good thing to just try to build something around it, build an idea. And maybe even after you won't even use that same chord progression, which happens a lot to me. But at least it's something that gave you something to start with, to not, get stuck. Or there's so many chord progressions, so many chords, so many melodies, so many stuff that you can do with music that I'm trying to explore more and more these things. I'm also like a big fan of remixes. So for example, I like to take a vocal or something and try to build like a melody around it, and maybe then ditch the vocal and then do something else different. It doesn't need to be like the same thing that you started with or the same chord progression that you started with, but at least it's something that you start creating and then you explore, you know.
That's something that I think people struggle with when they just look at a blank project, and it's so overwhelming sometimes. Whereas I love remixing as well. I love to start with a vocal, because then you've got something to generate ideas from. And to be perfectly honest, I was listening to one of your tracks earlier and I copied the chord progression, made my track, and I changed the chord progression. But
there you go.
Just to let you know, I got the inspiration, man. So thank you.
That's perfect. And it's great, because that's just how it works. We make music, we inspire others, and that's how new music keeps going and being created. I think it's great for creativity.
So music production is a bit of a hard slog to make an impact and get released on labels such as the ones that you've been released on. Are there any particular times when you've come up against a really difficult situation in your career and just felt like, I just want to give up? And then how have you got past that and how have you motivated yourself to keep going?
Right. I think maybe personal reasons are always can always be like a challenge for music when you're working, for example, in a job that you don't like or that you feel really tired at the end of the day. So there was this point in my career where I was where I moved to France and I didn't have much time for music. I really had to focus on learning the language, and just learning the language, I was like really tired. I didn't have much time. I even felt like putting the music aside or just like a hobby and focus on my job. That was an IT job when I moved here. And then suddenly there was the what I told you earlier, like third party just hit up on Twitter, one of my promos, saying that they really liked the tracks and they wanted me to be part of the roster of the label. And that like instantly changed my mindset and like really helped me to give my like motivation that was just a phase, and that things could really still work for me in the music. So I would say, most of the time personal stuff that happens in your life, also relationships. But I think it's always the music. Like when you're listening to the music, it's always the music that keeps you motivated and keeps you in the game. I think that's the most important thing. It's how I overcome it is always by getting back to music, getting back to my roots. Why do I do it? Why do I start to do it? It's just what I love to do. Why should I give up, something that you have a passion for?
When I've gone through difficult periods as well, like moving to a new place or running out of money or bad relationship, whatever it is, and then I stop music production, after a while, I just get this, I just can't resist it. You just listen to music and you're like,
exactly.
I need to do this now.
It always comes back. It's, you cannot avoid it, basically.
Yeah. That's it. Cool. So looking back from where you are now, you said you've been producing for 13 years. If there was anything that you wish you had known back then that you would tell yourself that you now know, what would it be? Because that's going to help some people who maybe they're just starting out today.
Well, I think one of the things was maybe what I told you earlier about not releasing so soon. Really work on your tracks, work on your skills, mixing skills, composer, like creativity, writing skills, really until you get to a really good level, until you can say you can play your tracks with the pros tracks, and you can say, this is on the same level, this is like could be released. Because especially nowadays with so much competition, so many music out there, like it's really easy to just your music get lost, and it will also lead to maybe some disappointing on the way. So I would say focus really on develop your skills and your capacities until you're really ready and really happy about it as well, because you need to be really happy 100% about your music. Also the identity, like I feel that when you're starting, you are kind of trying to search for your own sound, search for your identity, and you'll do a lot of similar stuff to what you're listening to. And I think it's not only until a certain points or a certain number of projects, practice a lot, that you will start to find your way and find your direction, and you will come up with something new eventually.
That comes just from time and finishing projects.
Practice,
Yeah. So how did you learn the skills to get to the level you are? You completely self-taught. I assume you were referencing lots of the music that you loved, listening to it really carefully. I mean, did you do any formal education or was it all just self-taught?
It was mostly YouTube videos, tutorials. At the time, just like today, you can just ask YouTube how to make this deadmau5 track, and there was like full complete walkthroughs. I just tried to do something like copy exactly the same track to learn. In order to learn, I think that was like a really good way to learn, because you're like really analyzing the track, how it's made. You really learn a lot about it, a lot about the structure, a lot about the sound of it, the type of melody, the rhythm, everything. So I think really is one of the best ways to learn. It's just to get your favorite music and try to copy them on your initial projects in order to learn. You don't need to release them. You just like to learn, basically, for learning
just
purposes.
For practice.
Just for practice, yeah. It was basically just that. Then I tried to go to a music production school. It was not that worthy. I learned a little bit on the mixing side, but I didn't find like it was so useful, because everything that they taught me there, I was already having it by online YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah, learning I guess we'd say self-learning.
Self-learning. Yeah, I think that's usually the best way for me.
And did you manage to get feedback at any point on your music? Because for me personally, I found that very useful when a better producer has listened to my music and said, you got this right, but you need to tweak this or tweak that.
Yeah, I mean, in the first few years, it was really hard to get like proper feedback from professional producers. Later, when I started to work with labels like 03, Jamie Kemp, which is a great label manager and producer as well, he really helped me with feedback on those tracks. And also at that point, I was starting to talk with people like Graham as well from Anjuna Beats.
Yeah, great producer.
Yeah, third party as well. They gave me feedback, and then later my manager as well. So I think it really helps to have these big producers and professional giving you some good feedback to improve your tracks, because they have a lot of experience. They know what works, what it doesn't, and it's just like a massive. You just learn much more quicker when you're having all these feedback tips.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what would you say? I mean, you may have already answered this earlier, but what would you say has been the most challenging aspect of your career so far?
Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier. I think it was about like personal reasons, fighting with music at the same time. I think basically I just mentioned everything about that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you came out the other side, because now we get to listen to your music.
Yeah, perfect.
So that's cool.
That's cool, yeah.
And I guess, last question would be really from our community, which is, how did you get picked up by your first reasonably big label? So in this instance, it's going to be 03. You mentioned that promo, but whom did you send that to? Or where did you post it?
I think with 03 was by email. It was just about getting the right label email and keep bothering them with my music, basically, until they say yes. It's still the same fight today. So even if you're already signed with some really good labels, I still want to keep releasing on the same labels and on bigger ones too. So I'm always trying to do my best. Focus a lot on music, so the music is really right, and then it's just about showing them. Sometimes it can be hard to make them to listen to the demos, because they are really busy and sometimes they don't listen to every demo. And if they don't reply, I think this is really important for people to not give up on the first email. Like if they don't reply, if they don't listen at the first time, maybe just like send them like a new email like 2 or 3 weeks or 1 month after, just like to check in if they got the email, if they got the music, because they'll see, like, I think it will show that you're really determined on signing on the label. So I think that's a good thing.
Great. And you've just recently had a release out on Armada, but you've got a release that, well, when the publishing of this video goes out, I think it's going to have been released yesterday.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and it's doubled up as an EP with the previous release, I think.
Yes, exactly. So this is like a double EP on Armada with, I did these 2 tracks with some friends. The first track was Higher State with Peter Ilias.
Great track, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. So basically, Peter, he sent me the first draft idea on Instagram. We've been talking for a few months before, and I really enjoyed the idea. I didn't know much about him, but we started talking more and more. But I really liked the idea, and I started working on it. And basically, then we made it happen. And then the second track is Hold Me with my friend Paul Arcane and the excellent singer Amy J. Price. So yeah, I met with her also there. I really needed some vocals because I had this intro demo track with Paul for a while. We worked a lot on it, maybe like 1 year or something. It was a really long process until we get it well done. And then we got the amazing Amy to sing some really nice vocal lines for us. It just put the track like in a completely new level. You know, sometimes tracks that you think that they are finished, but sometimes if you just add like a new vocal or something on top, sometimes it just like goes to the next level. And I think this was the case. Yeah, really happy with the result, and I'm really happy to be releasing it in Armada too, which is a really good label.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll put a link to the release below this video. And
thanks, man.
Where can people kind of follow you? Where's the best to find out more about what you're producing, where you're DJing?
So yeah, I think Instagram would be the main social network where I'm most active. Even if I don't really like too much to post too much stuff, I try to keep it really updates, at least with the minimum, with the essential stuff, being with music or the new gigs and stuff. So everything related, just go on Instagram. And yeah, for music, just Spotify and SoundCloud also. I post everything on SoundCloud. Really, really good fan of SoundCloud myself to find new tracks too. So yeah, you can find me there for sure.
Cool. Well, I'll link to all of what we've just mentioned below this video, and you've got a new follower in me anyway.
Thank you very much, man. It was a pleasure. And also congratulations on your channel.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's really well done, and I've been trying to save a bit more time nowadays to watch more tutorials again. This is like, it just comes in waves, you know. Sometimes you have more time to produce. Sometimes you have more time to learn new stuff. And now I'm in that phase where I wanna learn new stuff again and new tricks, and keep getting updated with new stuff. And I found that your channel is like. He's been doing like really good stuff in that area. So
thanks, man. I'm surprised that you could learn anything from me, because your productions were on point.
No, man, I always learn something new. Is even if like there's always like a lot of stuff that you already know, it's always good to listen, like even if it's in the background, for example, or you know, there's always something new that you learn, or like a different vision or approach. So I'm always about that. Yeah.
I'm learning so much since I started teaching. I'm a much better producer than I was when I started. And then I learn stuff from my students, because they say, I do this. And then it's like, oh, that's cool. Let's try that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something new coming up. Yeah, new tricks, new plugins, new ways of doing music. So I think it's important to just keep updated.
I think so too. Just the importance of staying fresh and learning new stuff all the time. It is important, you know, and it keeps you engaged.
Yeah. And now I think now more than ever, with the AI thing, which is also something that maybe I could have told you earlier.
We can talk about that too, because that was one of the questions I was going to ask anyway.
Yeah, because I think I've been trying to really keep updated on this AI thing a lot, because I think it's growing so fast, and it's like crazy speeds, and I think if you don't learn right now, you can just like, how do you say?
Behind?
You left behind, yeah, you get left behind like in a minute. And I think it can be like such a powerful tool for us, for everyone really. And especially as musicians, I think it can be like a powerful tool to create new music and unexpected stuff that you wouldn't come up with your own minds. But also we need to be careful to not just overuse it in a lazy way. For example, I've been already trying to play with some of these tools, and I think it can be really useful to come up with new ideas, like a starting point, like I said, this new sample, this vocal sample, this synth, interesting synth. Everything can be just like a good starting point for creation. But yeah, it's really interesting times, and I cannot wait to see the future about this AI.
Well, it's coming fast because every month there's some new AI tool, and it's like a year ago we were joking that it would be like this, and now it's here.
And now it's here. Yeah. It's only gonna get better and better because they are always like developing all their algorithms and all their systems, and it's like with such a crazy speed, it's only gonna get more and more intelligence. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, me too. You could be scared or you can be excited, and I prefer to be excited.
I prefer to be excited. I mean, there will always be good people trying to take advantage of it, and bad people as well. So I think I prefer to see it in a positive way, and in a way that can help us all be a better person and better at what we do. I'm not really that scared. And I think, the human being, like the human touch, there will always prevail. Like there's something that's simply the robots cannot do it. At least I prefer to believe in that,
Yeah, no, I agree. There's always the love of production as well. Like even if you could produce a whole track with AI, people love producing. Like you can take a photo, but people still paint because it's enjoyable.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. And I think even later it shows, for example, if you have like an AI robot playing for you, it will just not be the same thing as if you have like a human being, you kind of feel the energy in the room. Is like there's something about it, about being in this room with real people, real human beings, So I think you cannot replace that. So I agree. Think, there's always space for us, for humans.
Cool. I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Pete. And thanks for everyone who's watched the interview. Hope you found it useful. And check the links and tracks out below from Pete. And once again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Absolute pleasure. So there you have it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I enjoyed it. And if you want to see how Pete produces his music, there's a video popping up here which is going to show you step by step how to create his signature progressive break sound. The idea is to just break down and understand the techniques behind the music so you can make your own original music making use of these techniques. If you enjoyed this interview, let me know whom else you'd like to see me interview on this channel, and give it a like and share it with your friends if you found it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you over at that next video.